everybody. So continuation from the other day, the getting the wire wheels mounted onto the car, and so I ran into a couple technical difficulties here. I had to get a couple races and some front bearings for the front hubs. So right now, and then I decided to paint the hubs. So those are drying right now, and so as you can see, I have both the front wheel ends off. So while those hubs are drying, because all I got to do is basically just put the new races in, put the seals in, and slap it back together. But and also bolt the adapters on. But anyway, so what we're gonna do is now we're gonna head to the back of the car and get those done. So we're heading to the back. Okay, so I already started a little bit. You gotta disconnect your brake calipers, and then come out here to the outside, take off that center cover, loosen the nut, and then use this puller right here. This is a specific puller, and it makes it a lot easier pulling it off. Then you don't have to tap on the axle or anything like that. So let's get to it. Hey everyone, welcome back. Gonna continue on from yesterday. Had a little bit of trouble trying to get the back tire off, and ended up figuring out what it was. It ended up being a keyway that was kind of catching the free floating hub in the back. So as I was trying to pull it off, it was catching the lip of a keyway, and so I just had to file it down a little bit, and it should be all good now. But anyway, got the back tire off, and we'll go ahead and work on that. And so we have the whole, hub and wheel assembly. So we're going to go ahead and take all this apart and get the adapter plates hooked up, and we'll go ahead and it's pretty simple. Pretty self-explanatory. So let's get to it. so now what we have. Okay, so now we're ready to put everything together. This here is the hub that I have separated from the wood, from the center of the wood, wheel, whatever you want to call it. And so you'll notice there's a little recess in the back of this hub right here, and it fits perfectly inside the center right here. So if you're ever having any questioning of what order everything goes together with these adapters, that'll kind of tell you. So then now basically we'll take one of these adapters right here, and you notice how there's kind of a, in the center there's a little bit of a taper to it. Well, if you look at this hub right about here, it's a taper right there. So this actually, if you put everything together just like this, you have to get the little stud lined up. There's a stud in the spacer right here that you have to get lined up. Try to do this without pinching my fingers. So it's a tight tolerance, but everything pretty much sandwiches right together real nice. And then this actually goes on the outside of the brake rotor drum assembly. So I hang it on that stud, and then basically you just take the free-floating hub right here and just line that up. Oh, jeez. Get some of this grease off my fingers. I don't know if you could see out the window there, but it's raining pretty good here. You might even be able to hear it in the background. Get this set down in the recess there. Okay, so I just took a little bit of a persuasion there, but now it's sitting down inside its recess there, so it should stay pretty still. So one thing I've noticed, and I think will be okay because there's other bolts. I've noticed that this stud that comes with the free floating hub, or with the adapter plate that comes through, I've noticed that it's a little bit on the short side. But I think there will be enough nut on there, and I'm going to put some Loctite on it. And I also had to get longer bolts. Because I noticed that when I was threading into the spacer, these bolts are 1 inch long. They're 3/8 fine thread. And I got 1.5 inches because I was only getting about 2 or 3 threads by the time I screwed through the hub, the free floating hub, the drum, the factory, wood wheel hub, and then by the time I threaded into that adapting spacer, I wasn't really getting as much. But at least now, I put these in, and I get with about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of the hole. I'll show you later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these started in there. That's nice. Right now I'm just getting them all started, and then just for alignment, just getting it lined up. This bearing right here on these free floating hubs, I'm actually going to carry a spare one of those with me for the trip. I don't think I should really exceed the amount of miles. I mean, I think these bearings are good for about 5,000 miles, 5 to 10 from what I've heard. But just to be safe, I carry 2 of them. They're not too bad to change, I don't think. I mean, there's just snap rings, pretty heavy duty snap rings, but if something decides to go wrong, I would think I could change that on the side of the road. Now these bolts, I'm just because they're in the blind. Once I put everything together, it's not like I can really just easily tighten these things. I'd have to tear the whole hub off. But I'm gonna put a little dab of Loctite on these, along with a lock washer, and I don't see it hurting anything. I just do not want these coming off because this is what holds the adapter, the wood wheel hub adapter, the wire wheel. That is what holds the hub to the adapter. And then the tire bolts to the adapter. So I do not want these coming out. I don't think they should, but can't be too careful. And this isn't permanent stuff either. I mean, this is just something, a little added security. It's not permanent. You can loosen it up without damaging any threads or anything. And no, I'm not just gonna zing them down with the impact either. I'm gonna get them started and then I'll hit them with the torque wrench. So the instructions call for 42 foot-pounds, and just to be on the safe side, I'm going with 50. I don't think that little extra bit will hurt. Okay, and just like that, this is ready to go back into the car. And I'll give you a little closer look here in a second. Put a little bit of grease around these O-rings so that they don't get ripped going in. Okay, so we got the hub all bolted from the back side here, and then we have, in order, we have the rotor drum assembly, then we have the, in between the drum here and this adapter is the factory wood hub, and then here we have the adapter. So you'll notice everything stays the same out here. Whenever your axle comes through the hole, your keyway lines up, and you still have the same axle nut, same cover, hub cover. And see what I was saying about those bolts right there? So now there's only about, I think, 2 threads that didn't make it. But, I mean, from what I've calculated, there's still 11/16 of the total. I mean, this thing here is it's a little bit over 3/4 thick. So, I mean, you're only missing about 1/8 of an inch. Any longer and I'd have been sticking through and I had to cut all the bolts. But I think that's more than plenty deep enough. Plus, there's 5 bolts and then this stud right here. So there's plenty holding it on. It'll be fine. But yeah, so that's pretty much in a nutshell how you do that, and then you just stick it all back together.